with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please remain standing and take a moment and think about our troops serving here and overseas. Okay, thank you. Okay, welcome to the village board meeting. We have to speak into the mics. We're down one recording device. Okay, the next village board workshop will be Tuesday, February 26th at 7. And the next village board meeting will be Monday, March 4th at 7. At this time, I'm looking around for the Suffern Chamber of Commerce, but they are not here. Are they here? Anyone see Ori? No? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Next up, Culture and Recreation, please.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Village Board. A few things that we have coming up. We've got a nutrition workshop tomorrow morning, February 5th. We've got a guest speaker from ShopRite. The ShopRite dietitian will be there. She will bring some healthy snacks and some information for residents. So anyone that would like to come, it's open and it's free to the public. On Wednesday, so 2 days from now, the Clifford Theater Reveal will be here in the auditorium on February 6th at 6 p.m. The Dare Dance with Chief Osborne will be at the Community Center on Friday, February 8th at 7 p.m. This Saturday, there will be an Eagle Scout ceremony for one of our locals, Michael Simon, on Saturday, February 9th at our Community Center. On February 17th, we'll be hosting the fire department. They're going to be doing a defensive driving course for their FD members. On Thursday, February 28th, the Girl Scouts International Dinner.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's come hungry and enjoy yourself for the evening. The board is always invited to come and meet the Girl Scouts and have a nice bite to eat. They're always very welcoming, so please feel free. That starts at 6 p.m. The Boy Scouts will be having a Pinewood Derby over at the Community Center on Sunday, March 3rd. And then again, another Eagle Scout ceremony. The Scouts are so good to us for the community that they're very happy to do their ceremonies at the Community Center. So we're going to have another one on March 31st, and that will be again at 2 p.m. And that's it for me. As per Mayor, I took off the Leadership Rockland off of the agenda, and I think that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Scott. Thank you.
And there's the proud dad sitting in the back, Bruce Simon. Congratulations again. Okay. Fire Department, Chief Lepore.
Good evening. We don't have much tonight. It was just a very busy month this past month. We went to 49 alarms. That was quite busy. Hopefully it'll slow down this month. And then everything else is going well. And we just have the air packs, which will be under the treasurer.
Yep. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Police Department, Chief Osborne.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. Just a quick update before we mention things, the items to vote on. In January, we had 603 police calls and blotters for the month. These past 4 days of February have been a little bit busy downstairs. We have had, in the past 4 days up till about a half hour ago when I was down there, we've had 129 police calls and blotters in 4 days. So we've been a little bit busy down there for the last 4 days with pretty much an array of everything possible. But the officers doing a good job at what they're doing, taking care of the issues and the incidents.
Just because, I'm sorry, the 603 blotters were for how long?
For a month of January.
Month, wow.
Yeah. Month of January. But it was a busy month for cold weather. That's a busy month.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. The first resolution is an MOU agreement from the County of Rockland for shared services with the County Intel Unit. County Intel is a agency that the county oversees, and it is actually comprised of officers from each department. Some work there full-time, ours goes there on a as-needed part-time basis for the sharing of information, investigations. We use them for major investigations, and actually we use them for photo arrays, photo lineups, warrant sweeps, fugitive locations, which we do have, and we have Officer Andrew York who's assigned there on a part-time basis. This MOU agreement basically is the formality piece of it, and it also authorizes us, enables us to receive asset forfeiture money in the event of any money that can come in through investigations through this unit. We've been participating for a couple of years. This is the formal agreement that they sent us.
Okay, so I have the resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding between the County of Rockland and the Village of Suffern for participation in the Rockland County Intelligence Center, January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2023. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Alpert. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Board. The next resolution is for authorizing active shooter and officer survival training in Oriskany, New York, which is run by the Office of Emergency Management of New York State. At no cost to the village, it's free training. We try to send certain officers up each year. Particularly this group of officers going up this year are some of our newer officers. This is invaluable training in this day and age for officer survival, active shooter training. It's the kind of training that we hope we never need, but you want to be prepared for it in case you do. I'm asking the board to approve from February 13th to 15th, Police Officer Carswell, March 13th to 15th, Police Officer Osborne and Cable, and March 25th and 26th, Police Officers Ortiz and Adams.
So before me, I have the resolution authorizing police officers Carswell, Osborne, Cable, Ortiz, and Adams to attend active shooter and officer survival training in Oriskany, New York. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, just a question for the chief. So 2 officers out 3 days in February, 2 days in March, and 4 officers for the same 2 days in March. So when we say no cost to the village, does that include this will not drive overtime as well?
Yeah, what will happen is, Paul just explained it, is if, say an officer, and I've looked at the schedule, and I have a Lieutenant Lachlan sets up this schedule when they go. And what we do is if the officer's working at his or her tour duty, if they're off, we will assign them another tour off when there's another officer's working. This is not a case where they're going to build up time to take off another time, and the days that we choose are days when there's sufficient manpower, so it will not cause overtime. And the best time for training for us, Paul, is in the colder months like this, because really nobody's taking vacation in February or March. It's the best time to send them.
Okay, so we know that already. We don't have any vacation scheduled during those times.
But we do know, because we actually they've had to pick their vacations. Well, they've been in before I should say right around the New Year, we got them from the officers.
Okay.
And just to stress the point that this training is active shooter and officer survival training, which is critical to training our police officers
Absolutely.
to survive in those types of situations where there are active shooters.
Yes.
Or survival needs that need to be.
Absolutely, Mayor. Just to even elaborate a little more, like this month particularly, we've worked with Avon on active shooter preparation, drills. I'm working with Sacred Heart last week, and I'm actually going on Wednesday again with the church and the school. I've worked in our County School with the school district. So this is something we participate in how to prevent it, but in the case it does happen, we want to make sure we're sufficiently trained. We are part of the Rockland County React, which is a SWAT team, and we have a very big part of it. Officer Marsh, who works on our department, is a team leader in the team. I'm an oversight chairman for the Chiefs. K-9 units assigned. However, by the time we mobilize that team, we're going to make sure the initial officers, which are probably going to be there in the village within 2 minutes, can handle it until the SWAT team gets there. So this is absolutely critical training. And these are officers, patrol officers, that would be in these scenes. God forbid it ever did happen.
I mean, I am stressing the point. Active shooter. You have to think about it. Everybody out in the audience and watching the video, active shooter and officer survival is critical.
Absolutely.
All in favor?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely, no, and I wasn't questioning that. I was
Sure.
really,
I
when
understand
we
that.
say no cost to the village, I want us to be transparent
I
to the
understand that.
village.
Well, I understand that
was
totally.
it. And that's the question, not the importance of the training.
Yeah.
But when we say no cost to the village, I'm saying
Totally understandable. And
No
and I was just
indirect
trying-
cost to the village.
And I was just trying to explain to you, and originally, I just, in regards to how just want to explain how we schedule, just so you understand.
Yeah.
And in all fairness, I know you're new to the board, and sometimes it's, if you have any questions like that, feel free, that's what I'm here for.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, thank you, board. And the last one, which already happened, but I know I spoke to you at the workshop, was sort of a late notice, was authorizing Detective Sergeant Marsh to attend SWAT Command Decision-Making and Leadership 1, which is a course, as he is a team leader on the SWAT team of a whole team of officers. This was a course that was given, and he actually participated in it. The cost was $710. However, the county's going to reimburse the whole $710 to us, and this is just a formal vote upon the training.
A resolution authorizing Police Officer Rick Marsh to attend SWAT Command Decision-Making and Leadership 1 training in White Plains, which has already taken place. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just same question, chief.
No, and the good thing, Paul, with this, the detective sergeant, it's a totally legit question. He wouldn't even count for manpower as a detective sergeant, so this, absolutely not, it didn't cost anything.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, there was a cost of training.
No,
Other than the
No, there's no
$710,
cost, I
right?
think
No,
he's
but
talking
that's-
about,
that's
I
fine.
interpreted
just
Rob
wanted
as
to make
talking
sure
about the manpower of the overtime, that's all.
Very good.
And when we do get the reimbursement back, obviously, we'll put it back into the account with Mike.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Chief.
very much.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Amy's here. She may be a little stressed out. We're going to have a changing of the guard.
Maybe she can figure out why that wasn't recording.
No, I think I figured it out, Steve. I
recording
think it's
now?
recording now.
Oh, beautiful.
Is it recording?
It's counting? It's counting seconds. That's great.
Oh, yeah.
That is beautiful. Good job. I've never
Hi,
seen
Amy. Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks, guys.
Good. Thank you so much. Kathy to the rescue.
Kathy to the rescue.
Not disturbed your meal and everything. It was so good. It's good.
Okay, next up is the building department, which I have here. A resolution authorizing Steve Conley, Randy Ortiz, and Frank Wilson to attend the New York State Building Officials Conference April 9th through 11th in Tolman, New York, at a cost of $275 per person. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Next resolution I have here is authorizing the village clerk to issue a special permit for live entertainment to Rhino Comedy LLC, February 4th, 2019, through the remainder of the annual permit period of May 31st, 2019. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion?
I just want to say one thing, they're very good. They were very good.
They're funny?
Yeah.
And they really follow through on all the
they
permit
are.
activities too.
Right,
They
they-
really were on it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're still awaiting John. All right, Fred, do you want to wait or do you want to proceed? Do we need John? Okay. Okay, let's do the Department of Public Works. And while I'm on the Department of Public Works, yeah, come on up, Charles. Before I forget that, you got a big shout out from one of the local residents, Andrew Dale, for some type of I don't know, he found the leak in the street on his waste line that's connected to the hub of the sewer line, but he really praised the guys that came out and helped him out.
Yeah, they always do a great job.
They always do.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and the board.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Also, I'm sorry. But once again, is Joe here? Oh, he's outside. Joe has been doing an excellent job with the rail cleanup and staying on top of New Jersey Transit, along with Teresa Shedler, and cleaning up alongside the rail and the parking lots, and also the challenges we presented to him with the collection of the water sampling. Joe, you're doing an outstanding job, you and your team. You know, working with New Jersey Transit, really, you guys are doing a great job with you know, Teresa's helping you along too, keeping in contact, and then all the water sampling, along with the water department. We have Stanley in the back there also doing a great job. Thank you. So I just wanted to get that out there to make sure that everybody's acknowledged.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Charles.
much. I am requesting the village board to accept the copper and zinc study evaluation recommendation report prepared by Pingaro and Deutsch for submittal to the Rockland County Solid Waste Management Authority.
Okay, I have a resolution authorizing the Village of Suffern and copper and zinc study evaluation report and proceed with Phase 1 of activities. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
I am requesting authorization for the mayor to sign the Community Rating System recertification.
So I have the resolution authorizing the mayor to sign the Community Rating System recertification. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
I am requesting authorization to issue a purchase order to Delaware Engineering, DPC, to review, provide recommendations, a written report of the village's Phase 1 and Phase 2 operational excellence process improvement strategy for the wastewater treatment plant, the amount of $7,700. This is the low-cost proposal.
So I have the resolution authorizing acceptance of the low bid for the professional services requested for wastewater treatment plant operational excellence engineering review and proposal from Delaware Engineering, in the cost of $7,700. I have a motion.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
I am requesting authorization to issue a purchase order to KC Engineering and Land Surveying PC for a construction administration proposal for the South Street Emergency Generator Replacement Project in the amount of $5,900.
So I have the resolution authorizing acceptance of the professional service request proposal from KC Engineering and Land Surveying for construction administration for the South Street Emergency Generator Replacement Project. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
I am requesting the mayor to appoint Mr. Michael Augustin as Refuse Department labor at a pay rate of $17.30 per hour effective February 11th, 2019. Michael is a U.S. Army Reserve member, and he's been doing a great job.
And he's been a seasonal?
Yeah, he's currently a seasonal
Seasonal.
employee, that's correct.
Right, okay. And we have the funding available for the open position?
Yes. we,
Right.
Ran it by Michael.
Okay. I have a resolution appointing Michael Augustin as laborer effective February 11th, 2019, at a pay rate of $17.30 per hour. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Michael, that's, Mr. Janito, that's confirmed with the budgeting? Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, that's it, thank you.
Thank you.
Charles, before you go, Charles, there had been mention about some of the streets lights in the business district being out.
Yes, it's been an ongoing issue, and another one of the items that Mr. Hunt has been on. Had a lot of discussion with the mayor on this. It looks like we are in the need to get a electrical contractor to survey and see what the issues are. We go out when we got a bulb issue or a ballast issue, we address it. But for some reason, it's kind of an intermittent thing at times. So we've been spending a fair amount of time on it trying to get it resolved. But we're going to be bringing in an electrical contractor to do a survey and see what the issues
Yeah,
are,
absolutely.
see if we can get them
Yep.
resolved.
It's a major complaint. Okay, thank you. Let's go back to the grant writer, Mr. Rella.
Good evening, Board Mayor.
Good evening.
The DEC has released a drinking water grant, and it's to investigate and develop a protective plan for our drinking water supply. Okay, they're going to be awarding it to 30 communities. You're going to put the application in, which is due February 15th, and if you are selected as an award winner, you will have this protective plan, which is developed by an outside professional consultant at absolutely no cost.
No
to the
cost,
village.
right? Yep.
So we're working with Charles on this in the water department, and we'd like to be able to submit that on February 15th as a potential opportunity for a grant. I'm just letting you know, we don't really...
Right, we're going to submit.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. I see on the agenda you wanted me to talk a little bit about Tree City USA. We put in the application for Tree City USA in December, and we've been a member of it for several years. One thing which is a little confusing, we mentioned the DEC here. Tree City USA is actually an Arbor Day Foundation initiative, and the Arbor Day Foundation is a 501c3 organization, which means that it's a charitable organization. The actual running of the program itself, though, implemented from state to state, is done by the DEC. So it's actually a Arbor Day Foundation program that just happens to be run by each state's DEP, DEC, or alike, okay? But the program is developed and everything by the Arbor Day Foundation. And I'm very proud to say that I just spoke to the Arbor Day Foundation this morning, and we were accepted as, once again, a Tree City USA. So we'll be celebrating that at Arbor Day, which is always the last Friday in April. Okay. The tree committee's been working very hard. We have Sandy Stead in the audience, who is a member of the tree committee. And John Wicks may be joining us shortly. He's probably in transit. He's the village arborist. He also sits on the committee. In the spring of 2018, we did an initiative, started at the Tree City, of saying, okay, we're going to go through the municipality and try to maintain the trees such they last longer. They more beautify aesthetically the downtown, and also that they help limit any liability, such that if a branch falls or something along that manner. So in working with the committee and Charles, we developed a program where we did a tree trimming all the way throughout of Lafayette Avenue, and it worked out very well. Now we wanted to expand that a little bit further, so we decided Washington Avenue has a number of trees on it that are in dire need, even from a layman's perspective, not an arborist perspective, that do need trimming, pruning, and the like, okay? And, you know, the trees help us environmentally, as I mentioned, you know, Aesthetically, it's nice, and also we want to maintain the health of them such that they last as long as possible. We don't want to have to cut them down, as well as the liability issue if any limb falls or whatnot. So Sandy went out and actually looked at the number of trees we have along Washington Avenue, basically from the monument near Sacred Heart Church down to the point, and there was 47 of them. Then she also looked at some of the arteries that run off of Washington Avenue, specifically Maltby, between Maltby Avenue, East Maple, Park Avenue, and then also Suffern Park, which had 2 trees in it. So in totality, it's like 80 trees, okay? So what we'd like to do is we'd like to float an RFP out where we would actually do an inventory of the trees, the actual type, the actual condition of the tree, what needs to be done immediately, what's some of that low-hanging fruit, and then what are some long-term maintenance plans. That would be like the first RFP. And we would look at it in 2 sections. We actually would float it. One being just for Washington Avenue, because we don't know what really the cost is to do this. We have an estimate of what it might be. So we're going to float the RFP and find out. And then the other would be to do those secondary streets off of Washington Avenue to look at that. Once we float that out there, and if we decide to do it, then we'll have actually a definitive plan of what to do on the trees. Okay? Then we would float the second RFP for someone to actually do the work of the trimming, the cutting, and the like. Okay? So,
So you're looking to do an RFP on an evaluation, initial evaluation of all of those 80 trees?
all those 80 trees.
Okay, and then the second stage, phase 2, would be the actual work, if any, needs to be done?
Right, correct.
Okay,
Thank you for simplifying it.
okay. I got it. All right, thank
Okay?
you.
Okay.
Thank you, Fred. Okay, at this time, I would like to open it up to audience participation. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to speak? Mr. Tim McInerney.
Tim McInerney, 8 Pavilion Road, Suffern, New York. Actually, I'm here as the commander for the VFW. I was out sick last month, but I had wanted to give the report and wasn't able to. We started a bunch of projects in the village of Suffern, which basically went all of 2018. We completed every one of them by December 23rd. The only things that were left out was where the benches are, there should be a walkway that will get in by the springtime. The dusk to dawn light has yet to appear on the pole, but the mayor assumed that he would look into it and get it done. The other thing that we did was up in the middle school. We had put the plaques in for Mr. Horton, Mr. Bates. They were both young men that were killed in Vietnam. We partnered up with the Legion Hall, and it really went well. We also did over Memorial Park. We partnered up again with the Legion Hall. Mr. Simons' son did a beautiful job on a World War I monument. We were able to take his flag and put it on the new pole. Flew it for 30 days, had a ceremony, took it down, and flew it right over. It was very interesting because the young man, I think, could probably do anything from now on. It was just such a beautiful job that he did. We only enhanced it by putting the chain and the poles similar to what you have out here that we did. And there again, the benches put in. The only other thing that we have is, I guess, Point Park. One, I need a name for the Point Park. And the other thing is, all the stuff down there, the benches and everything are completed. The one subject that was brought up was the bench by the sidewalk, because somebody might get their feet in the mud or whatever it is. We didn't finish the walkway or anything. That should be done in the springtime also. It's just a bunch of stones that's up underneath it, and that part of it's done. The other thing I wanted to mention about the Boy Scouts is we also partnered up with the Legion, and the Boy Scouts, we had just completed a project the year before, Fairmont Cemetery. And now they're gonna go in, and this young man is gonna look at every veteran that's in there and put a book, much like Arlington, where somebody could come up and look to see where their grandfather was buried, and this would be done. So it's quite a bit that, we've completed. The monument, as you know, we put it in with the sidewalks and stuff. So we've done quite a bit with the village to actually make it look pretty good. So, and we did it more, I guess I did it more for Dave Clifford, because we had cleaned this out. He passed away. So these are the things that we've been doing, trying to get in. So it's a nice thing. I'm hoping, that we can continue with this. If you would just check to make sure about the dust and dawn light, and if you would also check to see about the name.
Yes, absolutely. I want to say thank you for partnering with the American Legion and the village at the same time, and all your dedicated and hard work is simply amazing. And it really will stand out and shine in this village for
I would presume a lot of years.
hundreds of years, maybe?
Because our last one that we just completed, that will be installed in April, is the same type monument up in Sloatsburg.
Right, I want to take a ride up. I want to see that location also.
I had to get it all done by the 18th, by 2018, but it all fell in, so.
Dave would be proud.
The other thing that I'd like to do is I'd like to thank the DPW. The Thursday before, between Pavilion and Hemlock, the thing was iced. I mean, it was so iced at 6 o'clock in the morning, the neighbors couldn't get it down, okay? And put a call into DPW, 6:15, up they came with the truck, had it all salted, and I guess by 6:30, 6:40, my neighbors were all able to go to work. But it was just something where it made for a good thing with the neighbors, to see how the village operates, because some of them rent, one of them is a brand new owner, so they really didn't know the functions with the winter and how to do this.
And that's a rough hill. It's a rough hill also,
Well, DPW does a great job on it.
Yep.
So, I mean, they pick up, they do everything that has to be done in the village, so I think that's a great thing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Charles, can we make note of that dusk to dawn over there on Memorial Drive at the new monument that we were...
Yes, I'm actually waiting for a response from ONR. We've had some discussion on getting something done there. I will reach out.
Yes, thank you. And please let me know. Thank you.
Was it the dusk to dawn? Did the lighting for the flag right out in the front here, did that get reconciled? Because I remember we spoke about that.
Yes.
That did, right? Okay.
Okay, is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak? Okay, let's move on. Mr. Janito, Village...
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sandy? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, Mike.
Sandy Stead, 45 East Maple, and also a member of the tree committee. And I just thank Fred for, explaining to you what we're looking to do as far as the, not just pruning trees. We're concerned about the best practices of DEC, so that we're really taking an initiative that the trees are healthy and safe. And we all know that a lot of the trees, it's been a long time since we've done much. The downtown area that we did, I think should be beautiful this spring.
Yep.
And it's a lot safer. So basically, that's what we're concerned about, and the tree committee has been working hard. I think this is a step in the right direction. I see John here now. Maybe he can offer a little bit more as to the DEC standards. But if we continue to try to reach those standards, then I think that not only are the trees, again, healthy, but they're safe for everyone.
That is critical, you hear about it happening in different parks, tree limbs falling, actually killing people or whatever. But I believe within this evaluation, this is what we're hoping to achieve, right? To evaluate.
The evaluation, it would be
the evaluation of the trees to see if they're
Yes.
sustainable.
Yeah,
if
and
they're
that's what, John, maybe if you
right.
could come up and just a little bit, say a little bit about that site assessment.
Okay, sure. Mr. Wicks, would you like to brief us a little bit on site assessment on the trees throughout the village, on Washington and the... Sandy nominated you.
Yes. Sandy put you up there.
Good. So, what questions do you have?
No, just the overall assessment that we're going to undertake. Oh, well, and the DEC standards or like the
So-
best practices, not...
Best practices.
Right,
So
there you go.
the DEC has an application process for the grants that they give out, and we as a committee have recommended that we apply for those grants, but my understanding is that we didn't want to go forward with that because there was a matching component, and I guess there was some issue there. So in lieu of not doing that, we can follow their recommendations,
Right.
which are to have an inventory done first, and then a tree management plan, and then the actual work. Because the way they see it is that prior to doing any work, you want to know what you have.
Right.
What are your assets? And what condition are they in? And what sites are there that you might be able to plant? If there's a dead tree, if there's a spot where you can plant something, that would be an opportunity, right? So New York City just did this where they were able to, they have millions of trees that they're dealing with. So because you can't deal with all the trees at one time, you kind of have to figure out what do you have and what condition they're in before you do anything. And that's kind of like the best management practice. So even if we don't apply for the grants, we should, in my opinion,
Assess them.
We should follow those best management
Right.
practices. Do an inventory, and then an assessment. There's 3 levels. I was explaining to Fred. Hey, Fred. There are 3 levels. You start with a level 1, then a level 2, and if necessary, a level 3. Because that way you can do it as inexpensively as possible. So that's basically it. And that was my recommendation to the committee, and then the committee was going to recommend that to the board.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry, Sandy, but the tree committee does do an outstanding job, like even last year with the pruning of Lafayette, and what an improvement it really makes, the aesthetics of the village. Actually, it comes down to even the cost of housing and, what's desirable, a place with trees or a place without trees, but thank you very much. Thanks for being on the committee. All right. Mr. Janito.
Good evening, Mayor, the board. The first 2 items we have are resolutions that are kind of tied in together. The first one is regarding the self-contained breathing apparatus that the fire department uses. And essentially, there are 28 units that are going to be past their expiration date, and we have to replace them. The total cost of the project of replacing 28 of these units will be $175,000. So the first resolution is to establish the project to do that. The second resolution is a bond resolution prepared by our bond counsel, wherein we would finance the cost by issuing debt. Since these are going to have at the most a 5-year life, probably we are going to issue the debt and then pay it off over a 4-year period. And in fact, when that debt is paid off in 2023, the next round of 26 units will have to be replaced. And these are in accordance with National Fire Protection Association standards, NFPA standards.
Okay, so I have the resolution establishing project for firefighter equipment. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Just a clarification. Mike, you said at the most, these would last 5 years?
No, the bonding
The bond.
period is 5 years.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, okay. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Next is the bond resolution authorizing the acquisition of equipment for use by the fire department, stating the maximum cost thereof is $175,000.
And Mayor, I believe you need a roll call vote for this?
Correct. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion? Mr. Alpert?
Yes.
Mr. Girard?
Yes.
Ms. Hertzman?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion passes.
The next item is a resolution to amend the 2018-19 general fund budget to accept a bulletproof vest grant in the amount of $4,125. That's roughly 50% of the cost of the bulletproof vest that the police department will need this year. So this is to amend the budget to allow us to accept the grant and then pay the money for the bulletproof vests.
I have a resolution amending the 2018-2019 general fund budget for bulletproof vest grant award in the amount of $4,125. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have discussion?
Always in favor of getting money.
All in, good.
Mike, just a question. Did we have any money in the budget for this originally?
Well, we have, yes. It's part of the uniform budget, but I don't know that we had anticipated the grant at that time.
Right, so we should save some money here because the grant's going to cover what we budgeted previously.
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next item is a resolution to transfer funds from the contingent account to the police personnel services to cover overtime from the current month and through the end of May, which is the end of our fiscal year. The amount is $101,500.
I have the resolution amending the 2018-2019 general fund budget to transfer funds from contingent account to police personal services. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next item is resolution authorizing myself as treasurer to execute a Complus parking ticket management system agreement. Essentially, the court uses Complus ticket systems, and they recently negotiated with Complus for a lower fee, and there is a need to sign a new agreement, and the last agreement, I believe, was signed by the village treasurer, but in any event, this authorizes me to sign the necessary documents for that agreement.
So I have a resolution authorizing the village treasurer to execute Complus parking ticket management system. Excuse me. Sorry. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the discussion, I would like to say that this is going to be an excellent addition to our processing of parking tickets, thanks to Christine Anderson, who really was instrumental in this system, and they're doing a great job, and everybody's doing a great job in the village tonight, but the court really is. So, yeah, and it will lower the cost on the processing fees.
The next item is...
all in favor? I'm sorry.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
The next item is similar. It's for me to execute a contract for Express Pay, which is a company that processes online taxes and water bill payments. Currently, we only do taxes. We're going to expand that to water bills. So this is essentially allowing them to do the online processing of the payments. One good thing about this is that it's all PCI compliant, and the village does not have any record of or any transactions related to credit cards, which would create a liability for us, and especially and to require us to add certain security to the processing transactions.
Okay, I have the resolution authorizing the village treasurer to sign express pay agreements. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The next item is a resolution authorizing the village treasurer and the village clerk to have investment powers over the local service award program. That's the LOSAP program for our volunteer firefighters, wherein they get a benefit if they meet certain criteria, similar to a retirement benefit. But in any event, the LOSAP program requires that there be at least one and preferably two people to have the investment powers for signature over certain documents related to the program. And myself and the village clerk would be the two people recommended in this resolution.
So the resolution authorizing investment powers for the village's local service award program in the village, to the village treasurer and the village clerk. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next resolution is to authorize investments in NY class, New York class. Essentially, the General Municipal Law, Article 5G, Section 119.0, allows local governments to join as cooperative investment partners. That is, that we can join with other local governments in New York State and invest our funds in daily transactions, which allows us to put the money in on a daily basis and take it out as we need it on a daily basis without any penalty or any limits as to the number of times we can have these transactions. And they pay a much higher interest rate than your typical daily deposits in the bank. As a matter of fact, in January, NY Class was paying upwards of 2% on daily deposits, which is just another tool in our toolbox for investment purposes. So this is to authorize investments in New York Class, and I would sign the documents related to those agreements. Incidentally, the village was a member of this, joined in 1999, and sometime after that dropped out of it, primarily because the interest rates had dropped down so low. A lot of local governments dropped out of the program, and but now people are getting back into it, and I felt it was probably better just to have a fresh resolution to this effect rather than depend on the resolution from quite a few years ago.
Okay, so I have the resolution authorizing investments in New York class. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
So Mike, this essentially is going to add to our average daily balance. You can figure more or less 2% of
This
that
will allow us to
generate
do it.
interest for us.
Yeah, just to understand the process, you know, when you have money in the bank, there's no such thing as free checking. While people may believe they're getting free checking, the banks are actually investing your deposits, earning money on those deposits, and taking a piece of that interest that they earn to apply towards your fees and charges. It's no different for local governments. So typically we have what's known as compensating balances. By leaving a certain amount of money on deposit with the banks, they will pay for our services, such as cash checking and checks being cashed and deposits being made, etc. Now we have to have a certain amount of compensating balance in the banks, but anything over that we can put into an investment like this and earn a very good interest rate. We also have the opportunity to check our activity with the banks and compare that to maybe getting charged by the bank, but at earning this interest and using this interest to pay off that, whichever is the better deal. So that's something that we are going to look into. But this does give us the other opportunity to take idle funds and deposit them in a higher interest-bearing rate.
Does this New York class, is it almost like essentially a bank of some sort? I mean, where does the money come from?
No,
Paying an
it's
interest?
almost like a mutual fund.
Mutual fund.
But it's very specific to local governments. It has to follow a very specific law. In fact, local governments actually run it. And there's a local government that's in charge of it somewhere in the state, and they have a board and they pick who it is. It's all regulated by state law. And so it's really all investments by local governments, only in the type of investments that they can put their money into. We're very limited in where we can put our money. It's really U.S. Treasury securities. And
If there's a downturn, can it lose money, or is it guaranteed in any way?
oh, it's not guaranteed. It can, well, you can't lose principal.
That's what I meant.
You just won't get as much in the interest rate, and that's when you can decide whether you want to keep it there or not. And once again, you can put money in there today and take it all out tomorrow without any penalty.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Doing a great job. Everybody's doing a great job today. Okay, the attorney update.
I have nothing other than
Okay.
the number of resolutions we already worked on.
Trustees, anyone?
I just want to say one thing.
You're doing a great job.
Rob's doing a great job.
Everybody here is doing a great job. But honestly, I want to personally thank Mr. McInerney, and I'm not singling him out, but maybe now I am, for all the stuff he is doing. And we are progressing on Point Park, and I just want to thank you for everything for the veterans, and Sandy, and Jim, and Mike, but I wanted to thank Mr.
Anyone else?
Trustees. No.
Yeah, Paul, Steve? Good? Okay. Okay, the mayor's,
Are we going into executive session or after you covered it all?
yeah, after this, because we'll leave the executive session till the end, so,
It's the one I.
right.
So you're gonna change C and D,
Let me see.
is that how we'll do it? We'll just change
C and D, yeah. Okay, this upcoming February 7th, that's, when is that, Thursday? Thursday is the meeting with New York State and the Department of Homeland Security to discuss the upcoming Squires Gate Community and Pre-Mitigation FEMA grant programs, which we'll be having a meeting on Thursday. Next, I have the resolution authorizing to the Support Trucking, Orange and Rockland Utility Company transloading delivery project on or around February 16th, 2019. So I have the resolution authorizing Super Trucking LLC to conduct a transloading delivery project in the village of Suffern commencing on or around February 20th and
16th? Should that be the 16th?
16th to the
Yes,
20th.
you're right.
Around February 16th, 2019, and concluding on or around February 20th, 2019. So whereas Super Trucking, 433 Bergen Avenue, Kearney, New Jersey, requested the consideration from the Village of Suffern as it relates to the transloading and delivery project of 2 transformers, which are vital components to the electrical infrastructure for Orange and Rockland Utilities Company. And whereas the project will commence on or around February 16, 2019, and conclude on or around February 20th, 2019, in the area of Hallett Place. Whereas the transformers are part of an upgrade to the substation that will result in improved reliability for immediate surrounding areas. Whereas Super Trucking has been afforded the opportunity from Orange and Rockland to facilitate the overall logistics of receiving 2 transformers at the Ramapo substation located at 333 Thorn Valley Road, Ramapo.
Just for the board's edification, I think you have it. We prepared basically what we're calling a license agreement, which is allowing them to use village property for this purpose. I think we're going to have police and I guess DPW involved with respect to closing off the road. But importantly, with respect to that agreement is there's insurance requirements and hold harmless language in there such that the village is protected in the event anything unforeseen takes place. But that's why I put it in that format, so that they have to sign an agreement agreeing to indemnify us in the event that there's any issues.
And I'm skipping over to the 10th, whereas the project will result in a project fee and mobilization resource fee for the Village of Suffern in the amount of approximately $10,700. So I have the authorization, I have the resolution authorizing Super Trucking. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Okay, I'm skipping from C to D. I have a resolution authorizing Ed Markunas and Amy Paffenroth to attend the Winter NICOM Legislative Conference, February 10th through 12th in Albany, New York. Whereas the Village Board adopted Resolution 27 of 2015 authorizing attendance of municipal conferences in its reorganization meeting December 7, 2015 with the prior approval of the Board of Trustees. Now therefore be it resolved, the Village of Suffern Board of Trustees hereby authorizes Edward Markunas and Amy Paffenroth to attend the Winter NICOM Legislative Conference in Albany, New York, February 10th through 12th at a cost of $260 per person, as well as the actual necessary expenses for lodging, necessary mileage at the IRS standard mileage rate, in effect at time of travel, plus parking and tolls for the use of their personal vehicles, and for official business, the cost of meals while traveling on official village business, not already included as part of the registration, or other fees at the per diem meal rate established by the General Services Administration, in effect at the time and location of travel. That's a lot. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Okay, this time I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to go into an executive session for personnel. Is it personnel?
Right, well, personnel with respect to, you can say, with respect to hiring of a village attorney, and just to make it clear that there may be a vote at the end of the executive session. Sometimes we say there's not going to be a vote. With this, there may be.
Correct. So do I have a motion? Motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. I make a motion to come out of the executive session.
Motion.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
and motion to enter into the regular meeting.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All right.
All in favor?
I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
It's late.
Okay, we're the ones left with the camera. Okay, we exited executive session, and now I would like Mr. Magrino to please read the revised resolution.
Okay, this is a proposed resolution. There is a little bit of a change from what was originally proposed, so I'll read through it with the changes. This is a resolution to hire Keene and Bean as general counsel effective February 11th, 2019, pursuant to terms set forth in the Keene and Bean retainer letter dated February 4th, 2019. Resolution will read as follows. Whereas the Village of Suffern Board of Trustees is interested in retaining legal counsel to provide advice and counseling on a variety of legal issues to the Village of Suffern on general municipal issues, and whereas after interviewing several attorneys and law firms, the mayor desires to appoint the board desires to hire Keene and Bean yes. Yes. As general counsel, based upon the firm's qualifications and experience, to handle the variety of general legal issues within the village. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village of Suffern Board of Trustees hereby agrees to retain the law firm of Keene and Bean PC to serve as general counsel to the village pursuant to terms set forth in Keene and Bean PC's retainer letter dated February 4th, 2019. Be it further resolved that the Village of Suffern Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the mayor to execute any documents consistent therewith in order to effectuate the terms of this resolution. Does anybody wish to add anything to that?
Pursuant to confirmation.
Well, we said it's I'm sorry, did I give an effective date?
February 11th.
Okay. The retainer shall be effective as of February 11th, 2019.
Can you repeat the last further, be it further resolved?
What did I say?
Consistent, everything was the same until therewith in order to effectuate.
Oh, in order to effectuate the terms of this terms of this resolution, yes.
Rob, is it just semantics again, or is it better to say in the second paragraph, whereas after interviewing law firms, the board desires to, you had said hire, is it better to say contract?
Yeah, sure, contract with,
Keene and Bean?
sure. We could say in lieu of a village attorney.
Yeah, I like that.
And so that would be, are you saying
I don't think that's necessary in lieu of.
I don't know if it's necessary.
I don't think so.
okay.
So if there's
Okay.
no other changes, that's the motion that's before the board.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the discussion? Is there anyone that would like to discuss? Okay, as we are finalizing how the village should proceed regarding engaging in the legal counsel, I wanted to summarize the benefits to the approach we are proposing. As a centerpiece to our approach, we will retain, upon the vote, Keenan Bean as our primary village legal counsel, or general counsel, over the short to medium term as compared to appointing an individual attorney that has been done previously. I would like to take this opportunity to review my brief rationale for this approach. The approach will provide a significant total value to the village based on the complex issues facing the village, such as wastewater treatment plant, consent order. And this approach supplies the skills and competencies that no one individual village attorney from the past possessed. Activities and projects will be completed in a rapid, efficient, cost-effective manner, and the village will use Keenan Bean to resolve numerous legal issues that are outstanding, that may have been outstanding before I was the village mayor. This proposed approach provides the village with a high level of flexibility regarding how we retain legal counsel in the following ways. The village board, can decide to terminate the retainer with Keenan Bean at any time without any penalty. It provides the village with the opportunity to assess this type of outsourced model for legal services to determine if this is viable and a cost-effective approach. The village does not get locked in with an attorney that has been highly recommended by numerous sources, but doesn't have all the skills and competencies to handle the complex issues the village is facing. Local attorneys still could be used under contract basis to provide support for special projects where local knowledge and expertise may be required. Finally, based on my fiscal responsibility to the village residents, we are striving for the most cost-effective solution for providing legal support for the village. Subsequently, one of the most important aspects of this approach is the total cost of an attorney. Additionally, with hourly rates, we need to consider actual cost and total value that we bring the village. So think about it, the total cost and the actual value are different. As it relates to hourly rates, the Keenan Bean hourly rate for activities associated with the retainer is $220 an hour. In contrast, the fully burdened hourly rate of our previous village attorney was approximately twice the amount of the Keenan Bean rate, considering hourly pay and all the associated benefits, as well as legal matters that needed to be attended to by outside counsel. Special project work not covered under the retainer will be charged at a reduced municipal rate of $2.55 an hour, which was a negotiated rate. In both cases, the village will have a lower total cost with Keenan Bean as compared to a total cost value of previous village attorneys, including but not limited to the salary, the FICA insurance, the health insurance, and retirement benefits, and other post-employment benefits. These considerations have to be taken into account. It's a burden on the village at the longest term. With the complexity of the village's needs, having the legal expertise of Keenan Bean, based, of course, upon their firm's qualifications and experience to handle a variety of complexity of legal issues within the village, in one retainer is a definite benefit to the village of Suffern. While in the past, appointing an individual local attorney with significant expertise in, say, land use may have been an appropriate model. This approach can no longer provide all of the expertise the village needs. This type of limited approach actually will create cost due to a lack of all of the skills and competencies required. Examples of some of the critical issues that we are facing in the village. Wastewater treatment plant consent order. That's an ongoing issue for years. It should have been resolved years ago, before my tenure. Well water issues. The continuing remediation of Squires Gate. Think about it. We are still dealing with the ramifications from Squires Gate, and I believe due to the fact of possibly the incompetencies of the past. With the complexities of everything in the village needs to address, having the legal expertise of Keen & Bean based upon the firm's qualifications and experience to handle a variety and complexity of legal issues within the village in one retainer is a definite benefit to the village. And that's the way I feel. And that's what I have been experienced over the last couple of years with legal counsel. So at this time, I'd like to take a vote. Mr. Alpert?
Yes.
Mr. Girard?
No.
Ms. Hertzman?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion passes. Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.